playing out this short-term bullish divergence as the price is now retesting this critical area of resistance and moving towards a major level of liquidity, of liquidations, while Ethereum is now attempting a breakout from this pattern, which I'll talk about later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, taking a look at the 4-day Bitcoin chart, and as of right now, the Bollinger Bands are still squeezing together with the Bollinger Bands width indicator at this very low level in between 15 and 20 in this indicator. And this is actually the longest squeeze we've seen in the Bollinger Bands in a very long time, at least here on the 4-day time frame. We can see, looking at the last couple of years or so, we have not seen anything like what we're seeing right now, which basically means a massive volatile move is building in the price of Bitcoin and has been building over the last couple of weeks. Because generally speaking, when we see a major squeeze in the Bollinger Bands indicator here on the 4-day time frame, which is also shown by a drop in the Bollinger Bands width indicator into this low area in this indicator, usually that basically signals a major volatile move is coming sometime soon. And usually that volatile move happens within a couple of weeks or so from when we see this signal. But obviously we've continued to see this signal build over the last few weeks, pointing towards potentially a massive volatile move that could happen at any moment now based on what we've seen in the past. And just for perspective, I'm talking about perhaps a 20 to 30% move, or possibly even a much larger move, considering the squeeze that we've seen here in the Bollinger Bands indicator over the last couple of weeks, because all of these previous volatile moves followed by these previous signals in these indicators have been around 20 to 30% moves or even bigger. And so just keep that in mind. That potential volatile move is still currently building on this chart right here, as shown by these indicators. But at least for now, we're still technically within more of a sideways consolidation during a bull market or a larger bullish trend, technically speaking, simply based on the price structure. If we're looking at the highs or the lows, for example, we can see that at least as of right now, the price has not yet broken the price structure, which is the bullish trend, at least here on the larger timeframes. But as always, it is important to understand the difference between the different time frames. So even though I'm saying a bullish trend on the 4-day chart, when we're zooming out looking at the bigger picture, of course, we can see short-term bearish trends or short-term pullbacks during the much larger bullish trend or bull market. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart right here, we can see over the last few days, we've actually seen a bit of choppy sideways price action here in the DXY, which is actually relatively neutral for Bitcoin. And also over the last few days in the price of Bitcoin, we've seen a lot of choppy sideways price action. At the moment, we're seeing a slight bullish relief in the short term, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But at least for now, we have not yet broken this bullish structure here in the DXY. So ideally, in order to flip much more bullish in terms of the short-term trend here, we need to see more of a bearish reversal in the DXY in order to flip much more bullish again on Bitcoin. But ultimately, just in the short term here, while the DXY is basically chopping around sideways, as we've seen over the last couple of days, this is relatively neutral, doesn't really have much of an effect on the price of Bitcoin while that is happening. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, we can see right now the price of Bitcoin, after pretty much perfectly bouncing from this exact area of support that I've been talking about here on the channel, in between around 63 to 64,000, we are now coming up for another retest of this previous area of support, now acting as new resistance, as we've seen just recently. And this area of resistance is mainly sitting in between around 67 to around 68,000. And that area of resistance right there is based on previous support and resistance, and also based on a massive amount of traded volume in that same price range, as we can see here in the VPVR indicator or the volume profile indicator. And as I've been saying recently here on the channel, I've been expecting choppy sideways price action during this sideways price range. So of course, choppy sideways price action is made up of small bearish and bullish movements, which is what we've currently been seeing. And so at least as of right now, just in the shorter term here on the daily time frame, we're basically within a bit of a sideways price range in between that area of support that I just mentioned and that area of resistance that I just mentioned. So until we break one of those areas, we're actually looking relatively neutral, just chopping around sideways, which once again is made up of short-term dumps and pumps. And as I've mentioned time and time again here on the channel, in order to actually flip much more bullish again in the short term, we ideally need to confirm a breakout back above 68,000 because that is a critical level of resistance here on the chart, 67 to 68,000. So we need a breakout above that level with confirmation in order to flip more bullish in the short term and expect to move up towards this area of resistance in between 72 to 74,000. And of course, we ideally need to see a further pullback in the DXY to also flip much more bullish again. But at least for now, just in the much shorter term, when we're zooming into the 3-hour Bitcoin chart, we are now playing out a short-term bullish divergence, which is exactly what I talked about in my last video right down here. I said we're most likely going to see at least some choppy sideways price action or potentially a bullish relief over the next couple of days as the most likely scenarios now that we have a bullish divergence playing out on the 3-hour time frame. And so obviously we're now seeing this bullish divergence play out exactly as expected. And while we're on the weekdays here, of course, we're likely going to see a little bit more volatility. So that bullish relief is a little bit more volatile than perhaps, for example, what we could see on a weekend, which is shown by these areas on the chart. And so, for example, it's possible we could come up towards this area of resistance again, and then perhaps over the weekend, if we're running into this area of resistance, we could perhaps struggle around that area and possibly see a bit of sideways price action around that area of resistance, especially as we're heading into the weekend, because once again, usually on the weekends, we see much lower volatility. But at least over the next 1 day or so, we're likely going to see this bullish divergence continue to play out. But especially if we start running into that resistance, then obviously that will be important to pay attention to because we're likely going to still see the price struggle around 67 to 68,000. And so to sum it up, at the moment, we're seeing a short-term bullish relief, which was expected from this bullish divergence, but this is currently happening within a sideways price range. So really, in order to flip much more bullish again in the short-term trend and momentum here, we need to break out back above this strong resistance, so back above around 68,000. But once again, we need to know the difference between the different time frames. So ultimately, when we're zooming all the way out here on the 4-day time frame, this is potentially all happening within a larger sideways consolidation during a larger bullish trend, also known as the bull market. And either way, if you want to trade these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I take those trades over on Bybit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit down below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account and deposit on that account, then you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. And also, if you use that link below this video, it'll take you to this page right here, which is a new 500 USDT airdrop position, which you can claim, which by the way is an exclusive airdrop. Only if you use the link down below this video, it'll take you to this page right here. And in order to claim this airdrop, all you need to do is simply make a Bybit account using that link, make a deposit and claim the airdrop. And this 500 USDT airdrop position is available for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and a bunch of other cryptos here. But for any of the degens out there, there's also a meme coin airdrop happening right now, a 200 USDT airdrop position for a bunch of meme coins right here. And so just in case you're interested in that, I'll also leave a link to this page right here down below this video. In fact, it'll be the second link below this video, take you to this page right here. And the first link below this video will take you to this page right here. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go to take advantage of this opportunity right here using those links down below this video if you want to claim these extra bonuses. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And so I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitflex down below this video as an alternative crypto exchange. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we can still see a massive amount of liquidity sitting right at around 67.4K to 67.5K. And also over the last 1 day, we actually took out a small area of liquidity right around 66,000. And once again, as I said in my last video, it's likely that this higher level of liquidity right here at around 67,500, give or take, will kind of act as a magnet. Usually Bitcoin moves towards where there's a lot of liquidity. And so when you combine this with the fact that we have a bullish divergence playing out in the short term, there's no surprise why we're seeing a bit of a short-term bullish relief, once again, as expected. But we still have to deal with that strong resistance as we get there at around 67 to 68,000. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, right now the price of ETH is continuing that further bounce. First of all, if we're looking at that candle wick low, we bounced from this 50% retracement level sitting at around 33.50. Or if we're looking at the daily candle closes, we saw another pretty much perfect bounce from the 38.2% Fibonacci level of support sitting at around 34.80. And as for resistance on this chart, we still have this level of resistance, which was previous support right here, and that's sitting at around 36.50 approximately. And once again, as I said recently here on the channel, we're basically chopping around sideways in this sideways price range right here, just in the short term, during this short-term pullback that we're seeing at the moment, and we've seen over the last couple of weeks. And in order to really start flipping much more bullish again, just in the short term here, we ideally need to see a breakout above around 36.50. And if we're taking a look at this 12-hour time frame, we can still see that golden pocket area of resistance in between around 3.6k to 36.50, which once again is still acting as strong resistance, at least in the short term. And so that's why I've been saying recently here on the channel, in order to expect a lot more bullish price action and basically a further bullish reversal here in the short term, we need to see a confirmed breakout back above 36.50, which at least as of right now has not yet happened. But of course, over the last one day, we have seen this new bullish divergence play out as expected, which I talked about in my last video. I said we're most likely going to see this bullish divergence play out over the next few days, either in the form of choppy sideways price action or a slight bullish relief, which is what is now happening. So once again, we were expecting a break or a pause in that short-term bearish trend, which is now playing out as expected. But this by itself is not necessarily enough to fully confirm the end of that short-term bearish trend. So that's why I said we also need to see a breakout back above 36.50 in order to really start flipping much more bullish again. And if we're taking a look at this 8-hour time frame, we've actually just seen a small breakout with an 8-hour candle close above this descending line of resistance, which was sitting just below 3.6k, around 35.90, give or take. And we also have this bullish divergence also visible on the 8-hour time frame, which is obviously playing out at least as of right now. And so ultimately, things are starting to look a little bit more bullish just in the short term. But once again, in order to really confirm that we're actually flipping much more bullish, we need to see a breakout above around 36.50, which at least for now has not yet happened. And if we're taking a quick look at the price of Solana on the 8-hour time frame, we're also seeing very similar price action for Solana, basically a very slight bullish relief, but ultimately over the last few days, we've seen a lot of choppy sideways price action exactly as expected. This is what I've been talking about here on the channel. Expect some choppy sideways price action over the next few days as a likely scenario, because ultimately we bounced exactly from my level of support at 128, and we also confirmed this bullish divergence, as I said in my last video. But because we still have a lot of resistance in between 140 to 144, the price could still likely struggle around that area right there in between 140 to 144. And so when you put all of that together, when you put the fact that we bounced from support, we're struggling around resistance, but we're playing out this bullish divergence, that basically results in choppy sideways price action while we're playing out the bullish divergence, but still struggling around resistance. And so that is simply the situation right now. Once again, we're basically playing out exactly what I said in my last video. And in order to actually start flipping more bullish again, first of all, we'll need to see a breakout back above 144, but ideally back above 160 in order to actually start confirming more of a bullish trend reversal here in the short term. So ultimately, for all we know, this could just be a bit of a break or pause within this short-term bearish trend. That is a possibility. But either way, if you want to trade these moves in the price of any crypto, once again, check out those links down below this video to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.